The biggest take-home message from Tuesday's lacklustre leaders' debate on ITV was that the Prime Minister Boris Johnson has only one policy, delivering his version of Brexit. The biggest take-home from yesterday's Labour manifesto launch was that Jeremy Corbyn is setting the agenda on just about everything else. Mr Corbyn is not an inspiring speaker. He is a tainted figure, who preaches tolerance but has allowed anti-Semitism to take hold within his party. He is a tribalist who has made Labour centrists feel unwelcome. On foreign policy, he has a proven tendency to allow ideology to cloud good judgment. In most respects, he is the wrong person to be Prime Minister. But his vision for Britain is pure poetry. This manifesto is the most radical and ambitious plan to transform our country in decades, said Mr Corbyn, and for once, it was not hyperbole. Brexit may have obscured it, but the UK faces three epoch-defining problems: climate change, inequality and productivity, and there's no way the Tories are going to tackle any of them on the scale required. Labour are determined to take on all three. The costs of Labour's manifesto are eye-popping and almost certainly unaffordable, as this column has argued previously. But with both the larger parties abandoning spending constraints and promising a bonanza, the question now arises of how and by whom such large, transformative amounts of cash will best be spent. And Mr Corbyn wins the prize. The climate emergency has become an emergency because successive governments have failed to take the radical action required. Labour offer a green transformation backed by £250 billion and aimed at creating 1 million green jobs, producing electric cars before other countries steal that nascent market, building wind turbines, planting trees and installing insulation in millions of homes. It is ambitious, it almost certainly won't work out as advertised, few government policies ever do, but it is a response that recognizes the pressing need for fundamental, far-reaching change to the way we live, and tries to bring it about. An equally bold approach is required to regenerate those vast swathes of the UK that have missed out for decades on the nation's growing wealth. It is 30 years since the demise of heavy industry in Scotland, as well as Wales, the Midlands and Northern England, and millions are still paying the price for it, in poor health, unemployment, low wages and sheer distress. That failure can be weighed in lost potential. There is an opportunity here to move on at last. Labour are right to see their radical green overhaul of the economy as a chance to spread the benefits to every nation and region, by improving infrastructure, boosting public services and providing free broadband. So used are we to the sight of shuttered empty high streets in former steel towns. For more on this story, visit the news article link.